Hey everyone, it's Sarah with RegisteredNurseRN.com, and today I want to go over the ATI Comprehensive Predictor exam. Chances are, if you're watching this video, you have to take that exam. So in this video, I want to talk about what the exam is, how to study for it, what material is on the exam, and the most interesting part is how your score will predict how you'll do on the NCLEX, because the test gives you a certain percentage, and based on that percentage, they have calculated your chances of passing NCLEX on the first try. So we'll go over that a little bit later, but let's first talk about what the exam is. The ATI Comprehensive Exam is a requirement by nursing schools that you have to take in order to graduate from their program. It's called an exit exam. Some students have to take a HESI exam, other students have to take the ATI Comprehensive Predictor exam. Typically, if you have to take that, you've already been taking ATI exams throughout your nursing school career. You're probably taking it at a mid-curricular and entrance exam, and you've been taking these ATI modules throughout the time. So the exit exam pretty much is just going to test your knowledge on all the nursing material that you've learned in order to graduate. And a lot of schools require that you score a certain score in order to graduate from their program to sit for boards. Typically, a school will require anywhere from a 70 to an 80%. 75 to 80 seems like the range, but it's totally dependent on your program. Some nursing schools require a higher score, some require a lower score. Like I said at the beginning of this video, this test predicts how well you will do on the NCLEX exam the first try. It gives you a percentage, and that percentage is calculated with whatever they calculate on how you might pass the NCLEX the first try. This test is used for both LPN and RN students. The content, of course, is a little bit different, which I'm going to go over in detail here in a moment, but it's both type of students can take the exam, but the content's a little bit different. And what students say, I have heard of students say, I hated taking the ATIs, but you know what? It really helped me pass the NCLEX because it really showed me how to study, help expose me to the types of questions that they're going to ask. And they said they don't know if they would be able to pass NCLEX if it wasn't for the ATIs. But of course, they weren't happy with taking it, having to take it, because you know, you're at the end of your semester, you want to graduate, you want to get out, you want to take your NCLEX, and you don't want an exit exam to hold you back. My experience, I felt the same way. Whenever I took my exit exam, I hated it. I was stressed out. I wish I didn't have to do it, but I think it really helped me prepare for NCLEX, and I passed the first try with 75 questions. And personally, everyone differs on this, but personally, I found my exit exam a whole lot harder than the NCLEX exam. But that is purely my personal opinion. Some people think the opposite. Now, let's talk about the content that's on the exam. First, I want to go over the content that's on both of the exams, both the LPN and the RN exam, and then I want to go over the material that's on the RN exam plus the material of this. So on your ATI Predictor exam, you typically have 180 questions. Typically only 150 of those count out of the 180. You don't know which ones count, which ones don't, but that's how many questions there are. Content that's on it for both the LPN and RN, you have adult, medical, surgical, fundamentals, pharmacology, nursing, newborn and maternity nursing, pediatric nursing, mental health, management, and leadership. Now let's cover what's just on the RN exam, because the RN exam has a little bit more in-depth material to cover your scope of practice as an RN, because an RN, their scope of practice is a lot more broader than an LPN. Okay, as the RN nursing student, your ATI is going to be a little bit more in-depth than compared to the LPN nursing student. So this is the material that you're also going to have compared to that material I just went over. You're going to have more targeted medical surgical information and questions, and it's going to go over certain areas such as the cardiovascular system, the endocrine system, fluid, electrolytes, acid-base balances, the GI system, the immune system, neuro and skeletal, the perioperative, renal system, and respiratory. So that is where it's going to really target it on the medical surgical compared to the LPN. The LPN is just going to have the adult medical surgical, and they're not going to have to go over each of these sections. And then next, you're going to have community health type questions and nutrition questions. Now, let's talk about how to study for this exam. And I want to give you some tips on how to do so. So how do you study for the ATI Comprehensive Predictor? Since the ATI Comprehensive Predictor tests you on everything you've learned through nursing school, you're going to be going over every system of the body, fundamentals, mental health, pediatrics. You want to get a comprehensive NCLEX study guide because the predictor is testing you to pass the NCLEX. So both of the tests are going to be relatively similar. So I really recommend, I use this, I passed my NCLEX the first try. I really recommend the Saunders Comprehensive NCLEX Guide. You can get this off Amazon. It ranges anywhere from $50 to $70 depending on prices. It's constantly always going up and down. It's a great book. It's thick. It covers every area of nursing, and it comes with a CD that has thousands of questions. And the great thing that I personally liked about the CD was that I popped the CD in my computer and it popped up and I could test myself in specific areas that I was weak in. So I was always weak in pediatric and newborn care and mental health. Those were not my favorite things. That's why I'm not that type of nurse. So I would always click those and I would test myself because it would only give me questions from that test bank of those content areas. So I would really hone in on that because I was relatively good at other things like fundamentals, the perioperative care, things like that. Those are my strong points. So it really helped me target that. And another cool thing about the CD is that you can take a comprehensive test with lots of questions and it will actually analyze your results and tell you your weakest and strongest areas. Because taking NCLEX questions over and over and then going back and reviewing the material in the book is really going to help you connect the dots. Because whenever you're taking these tests, they're not fact-based questions. They are critical thinking questions. You have to know the facts, apply them to those scenarios in order to get the questions. Next, another thing that people really recommend doing is getting the ATI modules that they have. The only place I've really seen those for sale is on the ATI testing. I think it's atitesting.com, the ATI website itself. You can go there and you can buy the module pack that you can study for the whole ATI comprehensive exam. The price I've seen, I think it was in the 200s. I know they'll probably raise or lower that price as time goes on. Or you can buy certain content modules like fundamentals or medical surgical nursing or maternity nursing for a little bit lower, or you can get the content thing. And a lot of people said that that really helped them. They read the book and they practiced the questions. So I really recommend, if you have to take this exam, that those are the two things that you really concentrate on doing. Practice questions, get the ATI modules, and review that stuff. Also on my website, because I want to help you, and whenever I was a student, free things were great. Free's always great. On my website, RegisteredNurseRN.com, we've developed NCLEX quizzes that you can take on certain content areas. So if you go to RegisteredNurseRN.com and go up to the top and hover over, I believe it's nursing or nursing school, and go down to nursing quizzes, we have a whole bunch of quizzes that you can take for absolutely free. So now let's go over how the score that you score on the ATI Comprehensive Predictor predicts how you will pass the NCLEX the first try. So let's look at these scores. Here are the scores. Now, most schools want you to score at least a 70 or above, and here's the reason why. When you score a 70 to 71%, you have a 91 to 93% chance of passing first try. It's a decent chance. It's not the greatest chance, but it's an okay chance. But when you go any lower than that, you really start decreasing your chances of passing the NCLEX first try. So they really recommend you score at least a 70, because let's take a look at this. Say on the ATI Comprehensive Predictor you got a 63. A 62.7 to 64 means you only have a 75 to 79% chance of passing NCLEX first try. So your school is saying, hey, they're not really prepared yet. They need to still study. They need to take this exam again, because we're going to send them out there and they're not going to pass the exam. So it's really for your benefit and both their benefits, because they don't want to have students going out from their program not passing the NCLEX. And then let's look at the higher scores. If you score anywhere from 80.7 to 100, you have a 99% chance of passing. So passing the NCLEX, you're probably going to pass if you score an 80.7 to 100 on that test. Say you scored anywhere from a 74 to a 77.3, you have a 96 to 97% chance. That's a pretty good chance. So these scores are really awesome in helping you predict how well you're going to go into the NCLEX exam. If anything, it should boost your confidence that, hey, I've taken this exit, it's like the NCLEX, I can pass it. It's like the NCLEX, I can pass it. So I really recommend, I have an article on my website that goes over these scores. So if you want, go to the website and just type in on the search bar ATI Predictor Scores, and you can print those scores and just keep it as a reference and just see how well you did whenever you take your ATI Predictor, and print it off and see how well you will do on the NCLEX. So I hope this was a good overview on the ATI Predictor exam. I wish you the best of luck. I hope you pass, and I hope it helped you on how to study. And thank you so much for watching, and be sure to check out my other teaching tutorials and those free NCLEX quizzes on my website. And thank you so much for watching.